and welcome to Famous Gays and Lesbians, alleged and otherwise. I'm your host, Thomas Connolly. I happen to be a gay actor, and I live in the gayest city of them all, West Hollywood, California. Now, in this episode, we're profiling a president that, yes, gasp, I believe was gay. And this is some 150 years ago. And I'm not talking about Abraham Lincoln, but this was way before we had our first out gay presidential candidate, the wonderful Pete Buttigieg. Now, who is this gay president that I'm referring to? Well, it's none other than President James Buchanan. Now, in his wonderful book, Lies Across America, James K. Lowen documents much evidence to prove this. So the author, James K. Lowen, goes on to say that he's not a gay man and he's not a gay activist, but there's so much evidence that he's convinced that Buchanan was gay. He goes on to say that there's no evidence to see that he's heterosexual or even bisexual. He is flagrantly a gay man. So what's this evidence? Now, James Buchanan shared a residence in Washington, D.C. with William Rufus King, an Alabama state senator, for more than a decade. In total, they had a 23-year relationship. Now, Lowen states that contemporary records show that these two men, Buchanan and King, were literally inseparable. Residents referred to them as Siamese twins. Now, when well-known Democrat Aaron Brown wrote to Mrs. James K. Polk, the president's wife at the time, he actually referred to Rufus King as Buchanan's quote-unquote better half and quote-unquote his wife. Now, there's a lot of correspondence and letters which show the intensity of feelings that these two men, Buchanan and King, had for each other. In 1844, for example, King had to temporarily leave Buchanan for an appointment as minister to France. And this is what he said in the letter. I am selfish enough to hope you will not be able to procure an associate who will cause you to feel no regret at our separation. In other words, he's saying, hey, Buchanan, don't go out and get another boyfriend. You know the adage, out of sight, out of mind. But then Lowen found another letter that Buchanan wrote to a friend, which revealed his feelings for King. Buchanan said, I am now solitary and alone, having no companion in the house with me. I have gone a-wooing to several gentlemen, but have not succeeded with any of them. Watch out, Washington, D.C. President James Buchanan is going a-wooing for a gentleman caller. Oh my God, Buchanan's on a manhunt. Now, Buchanan goes on to say in the same letter, I suppose I could find some old maid who could nurse and feed me and not expect any romantic affection from me. Oh, now there's a tempting proposition for any girl. But even Andrew Jackson, the ex-president, got in on the act. Oh, this is my favorite. Andrew Jackson actually openly referred to James Buchanan and Rufus King as Aunt Fancy and Aunt Nancy. Who knew that Andrew Jackson was woke with gay jokes? Now, an interesting side note is that Buchanan was briefly engaged to a lovely girl named Anne Coleman in his 20s. Many historians have noted that this was simply to appease his domineering, forceful parents. Well, anyways, James Buchanan broke off the engagement very quickly, and Anne Coleman proceeded to commit suicide. When Buchanan went to Anne Coleman's father and requested permission to attend her funeral, the father said, absolutely not. And he also went on to say that he blamed Buchanan for his emotional detachment, quote unquote, which caused the death of his daughter. Author James K. Lowen goes on to say that James Buchanan may have been unduly influenced by the extreme, far-fetched, racist beliefs of Alabama Senator Rufus King. After all, James Buchanan was brought up in liberal Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home to the Mennonites and Quakers who were staunchly anti-slavery. However, a 23-year relationship with Rufus King and his pro-slavery and pro-Confederacy ideas and rhetoric seems to have changed James Buchanan's ideology. And James Buchanan actually publicly said that he thought that Rufus King was the purest, best, most intelligent man that he ever knew. Now, James Buchanan was decidedly pro-slavery. He even appointed Howell Cobb as the first Secretary of Treasury in his administration, who later became the first president of the Confederacy, right before Jefferson Davis. Now, in James Buchanan's newspaper, the Washington Union, he directly came out against the existence of free states. And he even believed that the unbelievably controversial Dred Scott decision did not go far enough. Now, as James Buchanan was president right before Abraham Lincoln, many people credit Buchanan as laying the groundwork for the Civil War. So I'm sorry to say that James Buchanan is widely regarded as one of our worst presidents. However, I believe that Buchanan's sexual orientation is of great significance. It's important for Americans to know that a gay man or a lesbian woman can be the president too. And can you imagine if there was an awareness of this in the 1800s? If we knew that we had a gay president, it could have eliminated or potentially reduced a lot of the homophobia in our culture pre-Stonewall. I just think it would have been so fantastic to have an out, proud, acknowledged gay president from the 1850s. Anyway, this is Thomas Connolly for Famous Gays and Lesbians, alleged and otherwise. If you like what you see, could you please like and subscribe? That would really help our show. Until next time, bye-bye.